Public.com presents The Rundown, your daily market update in under 10 minutes. My name is Zaid Admani, and today is Friday, July 11th. In today's episode, we'll tell you about the big moves happening in the crypto market. We'll also tell you about Tesla's plans to expand robo-taxis to Arizona and why drone stocks are flying high today. Then stick around to the end of the show to find out how much money the winner of Wimbledon is expected to make this weekend. We got a great show for you today. Let's go. Stocks continued to move higher on Thursday, with the S&P 500 jumping 0.3% to close at record highs, and the Nasdaq also edged up 0.1%, building on its record close from Wednesday. Now, speaking of records, Nvidia officially closed above the $4 trillion market cap on Thursday for the first time. Just 2 years ago, Nvidia was worth less than $1 trillion, and now it's the first to crack 4, which is pretty incredible. Now, despite Nvidia's big milestone, I think the big winner this week has to be Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin has jumped 10% this week, reaching over $118,000 for a new record high. Just yesterday, Bitcoin set a record of $112,000, and now it's shot up way past that number. Ethereum is also getting in on the fun. It's up 15% this week, and the price is back above $3,000 for the first time since February. And there's not really something to point to that's driving this crypto pump. In fact, what's crazy is that stocks and crypto are making record highs despite President Trump continuing to escalate trade tensions. The White House has been sending out tariff letters to countries all week, setting new tariff rates. And then just yesterday, President Trump threatened to increase tariffs on some Canadian imports to 35%. Starting August 1st. On top of that, Trump told NBC News that he's planning to increase blanket tariffs from the current 10% level up to 15 to 20%. But you know what? Investors aren't letting another potential trade war ruin their summer, or at least for right now. I guess we'll see what happens as we get closer to the August 1st date. Let's run through some headlines, starting with Tesla. Tesla's robo-taxis are on the move and expanding to Arizona. Tesla just filed an application to test its self-driving robo-taxis in Phoenix without any human supervisions in the car. That would be different than what Tesla is doing in Austin right now. Remember, Tesla launched their robo-taxi fleet in Austin a couple weeks ago, but those vehicles still have a human chaperone riding shotgun. And even with the human oversight in the car, things haven't exactly been smooth in Austin. Now, there are videos floating around showing Tesla robo-taxis breaking traffic laws. And in fact, there's one clip showing the robo-taxi straight up hitting a parked car, which obviously not a great look. And all of that has triggered an investigation from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which is looking into whether these AI cars are ready for prime time. But those little mishaps aren't stopping Elon from expanding. He's also looking to expand robotaxi services in San Francisco within a month or two. But we'll see how the Arizona launch goes. The application decision by the state is expected by the end of July. So yeah, in a few weeks, we might see unsupervised Teslas roaming around the desert pretty soon. And outside of robotaxis, Tesla is also expanding internationally as well. Tesla is opening their first EV showroom in India on July 15th. India is a big market for cars, but also very competitive, with local car makers like Tata Motors being a big presence. And then also Chinese rival BYD also has a presence in India. So we'll see how Tesla stacks up in India. They're going to start selling cars there pretty soon. Now let's shift gears and talk about Levi's. It looks like people aren't ready to ditch their denim just yet, because the company just raised its full year profit and revenue forecast. Yoga pants tried to take the crown from jeans for a bit a couple years ago, but no, everyone still loves their jeans, all right? Myself included. Now, Levi's did mention that tariffs are expected to impact their business. Levi's says they do most of their sourcing from South Asian countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Indonesia, which have recently been hit with a 30% tariff. Levi's expects tariffs to cost them between $25 to $30 million the rest of the year, but the company plans to eat that cost instead of pass it along to customers. And it also helps that Levi's makes 60% of its revenues from outside of the US, which is actually growing faster than their US business. International sales jumped by 10% last quarter, while US sales were up just 7%. This might be a hot take, but I actually like wearing jeans more than I like wearing sweatpants. My wife thinks I'm crazy for that, but I like jeans. A good pair of jeans, that's ultimate comfort right there. Let's talk about some stocks making making moves today. Drone stocks are flying high this morning after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced a major push to ramp up domestic drone production. Hegseth posted a video on X where he said that he's tearing down the red tape and rescinding restrictive policies that stifle production to unleash U.S. military drone dominance. Now, the goal here from Hegseth is to boost America's drone manufacturing base and get more U.S.-made drones into combat units in the military. Investors like the sound of that. Drone makers like Red Cat Holdings jumped 18%, Unusual Machines is up 11%, and even some of the bigger defense tech contractors like AeroVironment and Kratos Defense are seeing a lift this morning. Now, on the flip side, Intel stock is down this morning after the company spun off RealSense, which is a company that makes cameras to help robots perceive the world in 3D. The spin-off is now complete, and RealSense just raised $50 million to focus on integrating more AI into their products and enhancing their camera tech. RealSense claims that its depth sensors are used in 60% of the world's humanoid and autonomous robots, which is both impressive and kind of terrifying, if I'm being honest. But yeah, Intel investors didn't like that move, probably because they see RealSense as a promising company as robots start taking over the world. Let's wrap the show with a fun fact. The Wimbledon Tennis Championship is this weekend, and the winners of both the gentlemen's and ladies' single championship will take home a prize money of £3 million for winning the tournament. Now, being the finance nerd that I am, I was looking up the history of Wimbledon's prize money, and it's gone up pretty substantially, even in recent years. Like back in 2016, the winner got £2 million, and then in 2010, it was £1 million. So the prize money for the champion has 3x'd in 15 years. Now, if you go all the way back to 1968, which is when the tournament started paying out prize money, the winner got £2,000, which is worth about £30,000 today. So obviously, Wimbledon has come a long way. Longtime listeners know I'm a big sports fan, especially tennis, so I'm definitely going to be tuning into the championship. In fact, I'm going to start watching the semifinals as soon as I'm done recording this podcast. Well, all right, guys, that's the rundown for today. That's the rundown for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, and you have like 8 extra seconds, consider giving us a 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. As a reminder, this podcast is now a full-on video podcast, so you can watch me talk about the market on Spotify or YouTube. And while you're at it, leave us a comment on YouTube or Spotify, and let us know what you think about the podcast. And if you have any questions for us, we're going to try to answer some listener questions in a future episode. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Shout out to Mike and Connor for all the help behind the scenes. And we'll see you guys back here this weekend for the deep dive.